I turned 22 last month, and having tried and tested multiple side hustles since I was 14, doing affiliate marketing to e-com, dropshipping, SMMA when I was 18, all of which were massively unsuccessful, to my friend sending me a TikTok that influenced the agency I now run, that's generated over 7 figures a year in revenue, getting closer and closer to that 8-figure mark. I'd like to think I've learned a thing or two about business, especially around the mindset required to be successful in business, the kind of characteristics that successful people have, the places that they trip up on, the things that they have to sacrifice, the things that they have to prioritize, especially at a young age, right? A lot of this is important knowledge. And as a self-proclaimed critical thinker, someone that is very self-introspective, I have a lot of thoughts, beliefs, opinions, advice to share with the world. And that's largely why I created this channel, so that I can just sit down and just waffle. You know what I mean? We don't plan any of these videos. I have a title, I have a topic, and I just sit down and talk about that topic. Today's topic is about what is my one biggest learning over the past 4 years, or 8 years of running side hustles, but 4 years of running a real business. And I want to share that with you guys. And I want to preface this video with, there is a lot of advice around business, self-development, things that it takes to be successful, how to be successful, how to all this advice out in the world, right? And advice from very, very successful entrepreneurs that are much more successful than me, to people that are documenting their journey, to people that are faking their success and are in Dubai renting Lambos and Porsches, right? All of these different people, and all of them have advice to share, and probably very valid advice. But in a world of TikTok and short form content and really low attention spans and brain rot content and all of this, a lot of this advice and a lot of opinions and beliefs are being shared and consumed without context. Context on the biases of the person sharing the advice, context on their experiences, the environment that they were raised up in, the kind of goals that they have, for their business. For example, consuming advice from someone that is looking to exit their business is going to be different from someone that's looking to build a cash flow lifestyle business, right? The two kind of advices are very different. And there's a lot of advice out there, but context is this thing that matters the most, because context allows you to apply that advice in a way that will actually make an impact on your life. And that's what most people miss. Most people miss the context. But if you're watch this video in its entirety, because only then will you be able to actually actionably learn from this video. A lot of people watch these kind of videos and just it's just brain rot. But if you really want to learn from this video, watch it in its entirety. After that long-winded intro, getting on to what actually is my one biggest learning, and the one thing that has influenced the rate of growth, the success that I've had in such a short period of time over the past 4 years, right? And we 5x last year. The year before that we 4x'd. The rate of progress that I'm making is incredible, and I'm very grateful to God. I'm very blessed to be in this position, right? And the one thing that I've learned over the past 4 years is that, more than anything, the most important thing that influenced my success was the rate of learning. And let me explain what I mean by that. One of the trends that I noticed among most entrepreneurs, especially successful ones, was that they never stop learning. One, they never stop learning, but two, and arguably more important, is the rate at which they are learning. And by learning, I don't mean just consuming knowledge online, getting educated. This is not what I mean. What I mean by rate of learning is your ability to take action, identify whether you were able to generate a positive outcome or a negative outcome as a result of that action, and learn from the positive or negative outcome. That is what I mean by rate of learning. And your ability to do that quickly. How quickly are you able to take action, learn from the outcome of that action? This is what most people are really, really bad at. The people that grow the slowest are really, really bad at this, right? I have a friend who's doing trading, and he knows who I'm talking about, but he keeps making the same mistakes over and over and over again. Now, this person has been very, very consistent, has been constantly trying to learn from his mistakes, but the rate at which he can identify the actual mistake and then learn from it and take different action is really, really slow, which is what has prohibited his success the most. I also have a bunch of friends that are, taking a bunch of action, but not able to learn from that action. And that is slowing down the rate of growth. I, for one, has been very fortunate in my ability to actually take action and learn from the action that I'm taking. And I'll give an example of this to make it a bit clearer for you guys, right? And this is an example that's kind of personal, less to do with business, but more to do with productivity and how to create the conditions for success for myself. And that was When I was first starting out, right, on like, absolutely no money, uni, just working every single day, trying to make something of myself, I actually didn't know what to do in my business. Right, I'd just sit there and I'd procrastinate all the time. I would just sit down at my desk and I tried to figure out, what on earth do I even have to do? Like, how do I grow this business, bro? And that would mean that I'd ended up doing nothing, right? I'd just procrastinate. I'd move the task to the next day or try to figure out tomorrow. Oh, I'm tired now. Let me figure out what to do tomorrow. Having done that time and time again, I started to reflect on what is holding me back from making my progress. Why am I still procrastinating so much? And during that reflection period, I figured out that it's not that I don't want to do the work. It's not that I'm scared of doing the work. It's not that I'm scared of money, all these different limiting beliefs. It's just that I was very ambiguous about what I actually had to do in my business. Very simple. I just didn't know what to do. And I quickly started ideating solutions, right? What can I do to fix this problem? The solution to that problem was very, very simple, right? Something that I thought I'd came up with it myself, right? It was just time blocking. What am I doing tomorrow, right? I had a notebook. I have a notebook full of all the times I've time blocked, right? Because I never knew to use Google Calendar at the time. I just had like these notebooks, and I had the same notebook. I had like 3 of these notebooks where I just write down 9 to 10 a.m. going to do this, 10 to 11 going to do this. What that meant is the ambiguity, the decision fatigue that I had that was causing me to not want to work, solved the night beforehand, right? 10 p.m. the night beforehand. I'm just plotting what to do the next day. That figuring out what to do hurdle had been bypassed. So tomorrow I could just wake up and do the thing. And that one thing had impacted my growth so much, my level of productivity so much. I very, very quickly following that, I started to see success with my agency. Another example of this is in my agency, I was in the beauty market to begin with. I run an influencer agency, and I thought that working with these skincare influencers, these girls, right? Like they see a skincare influencer and the skincare influencer's skin looks really good after using this one moisturizer. They're going to go and buy that moisturizer. Easiest way to do influencer marketing. Very quickly, I learned that the market was very, very sophisticated, which is, they know so much about influencer marketing that for me to sell as an 18-year-old that had very little experience, I wasn't able to take that level of expertise to them that encouraged them to buy my services. I decided that after a year in, I decided that I had to shift, right? I gave it enough time, but I decided that I have to shift. I have to change something. Something's not working here. And I really started to reflect on what was not working. And I figured out that it was just that the market sophistication in this particular niche is just very, very high. And to define market sophistication, once again, it is the level of your buyer's awareness of what you offer in the market. It's like selling recipes to Gordon Ramsay. You will just have to be a really, really good chef in order to have Gordon Ramsay want to buy your recipes, right? You just have to be exceptional. However, selling to a random uni student, the likelihood of them buying your service is really, really high, right? You sell water to someone on the desert who's going through a famine, the likelihood that they'll buy your water is very, very high. Now, once I shifted to the AI market, my agency grew rapidly, very, very quickly. These pivotal moments where I've learned from the action that I've been taking and done something different or done the same thing, doubled down on that thing, have been pivotal in my rate of growth, have been pivotal in the success of my agency. My agency would not have been successful if I didn't pivot to the AI market. I can say that with confidence, right? This was a very, very strategic shift that I made. How do you actually increase your ability to learn from your action that you've been taking? 1, journal. You have to be journaling every single day. You need to be cognizant of what you are doing. You need to be aware of what you are doing before you can go and tackle and identify the thing that you're doing wrong, right? Before you even know that you're doing something wrong, you have to know what you are doing, right? Make yourself aware of what you're doing every single day and journal your thoughts, journal the things that have been positive in your business, the things that haven't gone so well. Once you have journaled, you'll start to notice patterns in what's not going so well, right? For me, it was I procrastinate a lot because I don't know what to do, right? That would show up constantly in my journal. Once I'd understood that, then I'm able to come up with an action plan on how to do better. This action plan can be very, very simple, but it needs to be implemented imminently. It needs to be implemented as quick as possible, right? So that you can start to learn quicker. The more you do this 3-step process, journal, identify, and fix. Journal, identify, fix. The more you can do that 3-step process, the more likely it is that your rate of learning is going to grow. And then you start to learn from your mistakes much quicker. And the person that is able to learn from their mistakes much quicker makes the most progress because they are the ones that are able to whittle down that level, that 5-year learning process into 1 year because of how much action they take and how much they learn from the action. So that's a very simple 3-step process that you can take in order to learn from your mistakes better. And that is my one biggest lesson. So if there's anything you take away from this video, is that increasing the rate of your learning will never be something that will prohibit your success. It'll never be something that without context can't be applied to your business, to the project that you're building, whether it's content creation, whether it's a marketing agency, whether it's crypto. This is one rule, this one principle will help you in any endeavor. So increase your rate of learning.